And I was messing around with this today at work. In between, don't tell my boss. But I was looking at the different options and stuff like that, all the league stuff, and for private leagues, I don't know. It looks like there's only like 40 or 50 on the register that do things like um, my league does. I was just looking through all the different names, and there was a couple names that I recognized from when I used to watch, just early days of the internet. And they look like those leagues have been going on almost as long as, or probably, if not longer, than our league. I think they said our league started in '89. I wasn't around for those. The first 10 years or so I missed out on. I think I looked today, and one of the other names that I recognized on the list, the EJMA, I think is a Memorial League or something. I think they've been going since '87. I saw. They Googled them, gave them a Goog. Pretty impressive. There's a couple leagues out there that have been around as long as we have. Like I say, I started this in '98. '98 was the first, so the '97 card year. I'm pretty sure. I found those cards in an old box of cards. I was messing around. Yeah, '97. I think some of the names from my '97 squad. I have to get my flashlight here. It's dark in my room. Jesus. Get a lamp. Patrol. Keith Folk. This is an expansion team, by the way. Charles Daggy. Had a decent team for an expansion team. I lost a lot of games this year, but I got pretty good pretty fast. I went to the finals in 2001, which was the 2000. So within 3 years, I was in the finals. I had Bartolo Colon, but he was svelte. A lot of failed guys, a lot of failed high prospects like Jeff D'Amico, Glendon Rush. Todd Dunwoody was supposed to be a superstar. He never turned out. Alex Gonzalez, I remember him making the big boot of the ball in the Bartman game. That gets overlooked a lot. He kicked the ball at shortstop for the Cubbies during that rally that cost them. And I think that was '03. Miguel Tejada. There's a guy I had on my team for a long time. He had the most hits on my team for the longest time. Todd Helton. This year I had Todd Helton and Travis Lee, and they were both considered pretty high prospects. I chose to stay with Travis Lee, and I dealt Todd Helton. Given the chance to make a choice, I always make the wrong choice. Phil Nevin, Golden Spikes Award winner. Let's see here. Dean Palmer. I love Dean Palmer. The Texas Rangers. Mike Lieberthal. Brian Klesko. Slam and Sammy Sosa. Brian L. Hunter. How's this for a steal card, fellas? You like to run? Base running 10. Lead 9. Steal 8 of second. Lead 5. Steal 7 of third. He had 74 steals that year. And I think that's all I did with him all year long was try and steal as many bases as I possibly could in any situation. Darren Erstad, just before he became a superstar for 1 year. He had a good card this year. He's 302 left with A power and 297 right C power. His defense hadn't evolved yet. I think in the 2001, so 2000 year, he was an absolute god. And then he was done. Carlos Baerga. The Cheese Baerga as well. Yeah. The makings of a decent team there before they all were something. Let's get back to this. We got Zach Greinke here. So we can't play Omar. He'll be tired. Scooble is... he's a -4. So let's get Sammy Huff back behind the dish. He's +3. But he's got a decent card against... Well, it's not the greatest, but it's decent. No, it's not really decent. Although that's C-Power with 20 home run numbers. I have guys who have B-Power or A-Power with 20 home run numbers in the past. And he's not limited, which is the nice part about it. I don't know why he's not limited, but he's not limited. Maybe because he wasn't that great against lefties. He's still pretty usable, I guess. I mean, as far as... I'll take him. I'll take it. I could, at this point... use Urias for Madrigal. Yes, that's a for sure. But I could use Madrigal for Crawford. So, all right, let's give this a whirl, shall we? That's a hot one in Miami. Keep hearing about the snowstorm we're supposed to get on the weekend, some Christmas Eve. I don't know. It doesn't seem. I'm going to jinx it by saying it doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad. I don't know. And here it is. Winter storm. Severe weather alerts. Just but it only looks like I don't know. 5 and 10 centimeters of snow. I guess it's maybe the wind and the flash freezing of the rain we're supposed to get. I don't know. It definitely is in Buffalo, 6 feet of snow. Imagine that. Just, alright, there's 3 days you could just get 6 feet of snow. 6 feet over my head of snow. That just boggles my mind. And I live like an hour east of there, or west of there, hour west of Buffalo. Drive hour west of Buffalo, and it didn't snow at all that day. Those days, barely. We might have gotten an inch. Maybe. Not a good start. Yeah, I could kind of tell something was wrong with Scuba. I took my dad to see, for Father's Day, I took him to see Buffalo Bison's Worcester Red Sox AAA game in Buffalo. Speaking of Buffalo. And that day, Tarek Skubal was pitching against the Blue Jays. And he's a big Blue Jays fan. We always... whenever I get to his house, the Blue Jays, we watch the Blue Jays game, and then we watch whatever else on the box afterwards. And I was bragging about Tarek Skubal and how good he was. And of course, he got torched by the Blue Jays that day. And he had another kind of mediocre outing where it looked like he was favoring his arm a little bit. And it wasn't long after that. But apparently he didn't get a full Tommy John surgery. He had the forearm muscle repaired, which is still a bit of a timeline, but not as bad as Tommy John. I almost would have rather had Tommy John just get it over with. I should get Crochet and Hoyer back pretty soon. These two guys are pretty good. So that'll help boost my bullpen. I was happy with AJ Puck finally just establishing himself and get to the point where he looked fairly comfortable and looked like he belonged. And Adrian Morejon as well. Get back over the injury hump and pitch well. Show what he could do. Loaizaga had a mediocre year, but I think the first bit was injury related. So when he came back from injury, he looked pretty dynamite. Gratterall's Gratterall. I think he's going to be pretty good. And then when you mix in Crochet and Hoyer to go with that, it's the potential of being a pretty good bullpen. But you never really know with bullpens. One year they're great, and one year they're not, and it's so unpredictable. That's the same with starting pitchers too. It's a little easier to gauge, but it's all based on errors, or on not errors. Errors are what's going on right now. All based on injuries and momentum. I think Cease is going to continue to take a step forward and take a step forward. There's still things that he could do a little bit better. And Logan Gilbert looks like he's on his way to being pretty good. I like what I saw from Luzardo. Another error for Lowe. And I like what I saw from Scuba. And I watched a lot of my young guys pitch in the minor leagues last year. Not a lot of respect for Ty Madden, but he probably pitched as good as, with the exception of Painter, as anyone. Andrew Painter was just... I didn't have him the full year. I got him after the season was... After we had played our final games. I was eliminated from the playoffs, and Mark, who I got him off of, was eliminated from the playoffs. I forget what I paid for him, but it was like a second and a third, and third, or something like that. 2 seconds and a third for him and Bobby Miller. You never know how pitchers are going to turn out. I guess is he reminded me of like Mark Pryor-ish. And that doesn't sound that impressive, but like Mark Pryor was a college pitcher who came up for the Cubs and pitched him into that series against the Marlins, the Bartman game. And he was pretty dynamic when he first came up. He had a couple years. The medicine wasn't what it is now. So a lot of pitching careers went by the wayside that normally would still be going. A lot of shoulders didn't get repaired. They had the Tommy John surgery, but it wasn't as sure thing as it is now. I think the success rate on Tommy John's got to be pretty high. Although we've had a few guys, usually guys on my team. Daniel Hudson comes to mind. And Ryan Madsen also had multiple Tommy Johns. So that doesn't necessarily, getting it once doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get it again. I think it's all a byproduct of these guys throwing as hard as they do. It really changes the game. From the 70s when you'd watch a guy like Jim Bibby for the Pirates just go out and just mop up 9 innings. It was his job to mop up 9 innings. And he was just going out there doing that almost every time. It was crazy. And not a big name, not a super power pitcher. Just humping it up there, 85, 90 miles an hour. And that was pretty stout stuff at the time. I watched a special on Mark Fidrich the other day on YouTube. It was pretty cool. There was a career that could have been prolonged with a little bit better medicine. He was fun to watch too. %. Come on, you gotta be able to beat 25%. Yeah, there we go. To the wall, let's go. Well, I might have to try and score Robert. Nope, Eagles. He scores, okay. Nobody out. I'll hold him up. That's what the book says to do. Play that one by the book. I was going to say, it seems like Brian Hayes has a bunch of hits. He does. He's 6 for 12. He's got a decent card against lefties. Good Madrigal wrapping one off the wall. It's off the wall in 2 bounces because Acuna was playing in. Oh, guns him down. It's another thing I noticed. A lot of my 8 base runners are now 7. A lot of my 7 base runners are now 6. That kind of stuff. It's just everything's just a tick back. But somehow I managed to have a few more on base numbers. And I have a few more on base numbers left against lefties. But really it's only 3 really good cards. It's Lowe, Martinez, Robert. Kepler's not horrible. Urias is pretty good. Hayes is decent. I pitched Luzardo against his team last night, and he pitched well too. Although he's really good against righties. I think he had a 189 batting average against righties, and a few walks, but other than that, this is a pretty good lineup versus lefties. Maybe what I should think about doing is have Canna lead off against teams without the off or pitchers without the off. Well, it's not a ton of walks. It's mostly hit by pitches, though. And Lowe doesn't have that many walks. It's not as many as he had last year. Doesn't seem to be. We have more power. Where was that? Center field? Hold on. Got nobody out. Got Greinke in a pickle. Domingo Herman. I think he's better against righties. Oh, he's got some deeps, no offs. Okay, here we go. He'll somehow wiggle out of this. I'll foul out, and then Kepler will hit into a double play. Why does the computer have a D65? When I played against this team last night, it still had Guerrero Jr. on it. Like Tim traded Guerrero Jr. for Acuna Jr. Must be nice. Take half my team to get one of those guys. So it's a different dynamic. Still, like who's who of who was going to be a spectacular player a few years ago. These are the guys that I wanted. I keep saying that. Eloy Jimenez and Gleyber Torres in particular. This could be the big blow. Yeah, balls are open. Shimmer. It's the whimsical thought. Down. I didn't realize Scuba had the off. That's why you play these games. Learn about your cards. I would rather do this than play like a greatest team kind of game. Well, I've done that before too. I found that enjoyable. Played with the '86 Red Sox a few times. We've redone the '86 series a few times against the Mets. So two good teams, two really good teams. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I guess some people just do a full playthrough the whole year. I don't know if they have schedules already broken in, or if where you can just solo the whole year. It's kind of neat, but yeah, I'd rather do this with my own fantasy team against other teams I was going to be playing during the year. So I think I might make that video tomorrow night, how I set up a league for just one person kind of thing. And then you can start it again whenever you want. Change teams. I had the first couple times I went around with this, I would put 8 teams in, but then it's hard to make the schedule because you got to make the schedule for all the different teams. So I just do 4 now. And I generally just play in parks I want to play in. And I play, like, I try to have, like, Tim's team's better than mine. That's pretty fair to say. But results-wise, we'll probably be in the same neighborhood. We'll probably be in the hunt for a playoff spot. Probably miss out just by a little bit. He's got a better chance of making it than I do. But it's nice to play some exhibition games against teams that are close to your team. And then I always put the championship team from the year before in the 4. And one of the other guys in my league, Kevin, asked me how I do these, how I set it up so I can play like an exhibition game against somebody. So I put his team in the 4. He's got a pretty good team this year. Kevin does. The old Baltimore Panthers are looking up. Got a lot of young players that are on their way. That's what I'm finding with my team. These guys were young a couple of years ago, and they're already being passed by younger players. So they're kind of getting to be that age where this is what they are. So. And I thought I was getting something different with a few of these guys. Like, I thought Luis Urias was going to be more of a contact hitter. Maybe hit 10 or 15 home runs a year tops. And he seems to be more selling out for power. Let's see. Let's get somebody up just in case. Yeah. You know, it's funny how in the minor leagues they seem to be one thing, and then when they get to the major leagues, they turn into something else completely different. Like, I thought Evan White, he is a dynamite first baseman. Like, he might be the best one, the best defensive first baseman in baseball. But I thought he was going to be more of a line drive contact hitter, and on base, which is what I wanted. But he's horrible. Strikeouts and injuries, and I might have to give up on him. Might have to give up on a few of these guys, actually. Madrigal doesn't get it done. He might be out. Luis Robert. I don't know. Might have to turn it over, go young again, and take my lumps again while they still have value. Before they're completely worthless. Then you do that, and you find out that you sold a year too early. That's why these games are so interesting. What's going on here? That's why it's so much more interesting to me to have a league like this. Let's get AJ Puck up there. As opposed to a redraft every year where there's no consequences to your actions. There's no consequences to, if you have a crappy year and you take a year off, then it doesn't matter. You're going to get a whole new set of guys next year anyway. Whereas this, keep a 40-man roster. You got to cut down to draft back up to 40. That interests me way more. A lot of teams like to cut down to 15. You keep 15, and then I don't know. When I take a guy, I want to be able to have control over him until I decide to send him out as well. Oh, tired. Okay. Well, Mejia probably should have been catching, and Alonso playing first. Anyway. The computer manager is ultra aggressive and doesn't give up, but it also makes some iffy decisions. Robert hitting 500. Kepler. I'm just gonna, for fun, even though I wouldn't do this in the regular season, just to get him in the game. This card against lefties isn't great, but it's usable. Like, it's not completely atrocious. Against righties, it's terrible. But he's got a good defensive range, which is helpful. So as long as, like, I don't mind young players that do one or two things well. You can always find a use for them. And I seem to have that with everybody on my team. They all seem to do at least one thing well. So it hasn't developed yet, but and it may be that that's the only thing that they do well. In which case, I'll probably have to move on. I probably should have had a pitcher up instead of rambling about this and that. Okay, so that's nope, not substitution. Although, yeah, I'm going to substitute. I'm going to substitute J.P. Crawford for your... Yeah, do that. And we'll get the closer. Oh, let's get him and him. And hope I don't have to pitch Scuba a little tired, because he's an F injury. I wasn't paying attention at all. Just kind of rambling about shit. I'm just going to shut up. Okay, still had 2 base runners to give. See if it can go the route. The route. Look at that. Get me back to even with the split of the 4-game series. We'll see you in Boston, Miami Vice. I do like playing this game. All right, stay tuned for the... I think next up it is it's going to be Baltimore. Baltimore Panthers will be next.